A world at war, the significance of World War II. World War II was a global conflict from 1939 to 1945. It was the deadliest war in history, with 40 to 85 million fatalities. The war profoundly shaped the 20th century. The scale of World War II was unprecedented. It involved the vast majority of the world's nations. The war was fought on multiple fronts. World War II marked a turning point in history. The war gave birth to the United Nations. Its legacy continues to shape the world today. Seeds of conflict, the Treaty of Versailles and the rise of dictators. The seeds of World War II were sown in the aftermath of World War I. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh penalties on Germany. Germany was forced to accept blame, cede territory, disarm, and pay reparations. These measures created resentment and instability in Germany. This led to the rise of extremist ideologies like Nazism. The rise of dictators in Europe further threatened peace. Hitler exploited the crisis to seize power in 1933. A house divided, the formation of alliances. As tensions rose in Europe, nations began to form alliances for mutual protection. On one side were the Axis powers, led by Germany, Italy, and Japan. These nations were united by their expansionist ambitions and their shared hostility towards the Treaty of Versailles. Germany and Italy formed the Pact of Steel in 1939, pledging military cooperation in the event of war. Japan joined the Axis later that year, signing the Tripartite Pact. The Axis powers sought to overturn the existing world order and establish their own dominance. On the other side were the Allies, initially led by Great Britain, France, and Poland. These nations were committed to upholding the Treaty of Versailles and containing the aggression of the Axis powers. The Soviet Union, initially allied with Germany, joined the Allies in 1941 after being invaded by Hitler's forces. The United States, initially neutral, entered the war on the side of the Allies in December 1941 after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The lust for power, motivations behind the global conflict. The motivations behind World War II were complex and multifaceted. At their core, however, lay a toxic combination of nationalism, imperialism, and ideological extremism. Germany, driven by Hitler's ambition for Lebensraum, sought to expand its territory eastward into Poland and the Soviet Union. Italy, under Mussolini, aimed to recreate the Roman Empire by conquering territories in Africa and the Mediterranean. Japan, ruled by a militaristic government, sought to establish an empire in Asia by seizing resources and territories from China and Southeast Asia. These expansionist desires were fueled by a potent mix of nationalism and racial superiority. Hitler's ideology, in particular, promoted the idea of a master race destined to rule over inferior peoples. This dangerous ideology, combined with the economic and political instability of the interwar period, created a climate ripe for conflict. The failure of the League of Nations to effectively address the aggression of the Axis powers further emboldened them. The League, weakened by its lack of military power and the reluctance of its members to confront aggression, proved unable to prevent the outbreak of war. Section 5. Lightning strikes the outbreak of World War II. World War II officially began on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. Hitler's Blitzkrieg, a lightning war strategy employing fast-moving tanks and overwhelming air power, quickly overran Polish defenses. France and Great Britain, honoring their treaty obligations to Poland, declared war on Germany 2 days later. However, they were slow to mobilize and provide effective assistance to Poland, which fell to the Germans within a month. What followed was a period known as the Phony War, characterized by limited fighting in Western Europe. Germany consolidated its control over Poland and prepared for further offensives, while the Allies built up their forces and fortified their defenses. The relative calm was shattered in April 1940 when Germany launched a surprise attack on Denmark and Norway. These countries fell quickly, giving Germany control of vital shipping lanes and access to strategic resources. Section 6. Battles that turned the tide. Stalingrad, D-Day, and Midway. World War II had pivotal battles that shifted the balance of power. The Battle of Stalingrad from August 1942 to February 1943 was brutal and decisive. German forces faced fierce resistance from Soviet troops, and civilians. The battle resulted in massive casualties and marked a turning point. D-Day, June 6, 1944, began the Allied liberation of Western Europe. The massive assault established a foothold and opened a second front. The Battle of Midway, June 1942, was a decisive naval battle. The US Navy, aided by codebreakers, defeated the Japanese fleet. Midway shifted the naval power balance in favor of the Allies. Section 7. The Road to Victory, Allied Advance and Axis Collapse. Following the turning points of Stalingrad, D-Day and Midway, the tide of World War II turned decisively in favor of the Allies. On the Eastern Front, Soviet forces launched a series of offensives, pushing the Germans back through Eastern Europe and into Germany itself. In the West, Allied forces liberated France, Belgium and the Netherlands, advancing towards the German heartland. The Allied bombing campaign, targeting German industrial centers and infrastructure, weakened German war production and morale. In the Pacific, the United States engaged in a brutal island-hopping campaign, capturing key Japanese-held islands and advancing towards the Japanese home islands. The use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 forced Japan's unconditional surrender. Section 8. A World in Ruins, Unconditional Surrender and the End of the War. Germany surrendered to the Allies on May 8, 1945, marking the end of the war in Europe. The surrender came after Hitler's suicide and the fall of Berlin to Soviet forces. Japan's surrender followed on September 2, 1945, after the atomic bombings and the Soviet declaration of war against Japan. The end of World War II left the world in ruins. Millions lay dead, cities were reduced to rubble, and economies were shattered. The war had a profound impact on the political, social, and economic landscape of the world. Section 9. Shaping the Future, the Aftermath and the Dawn of the Cold War. The aftermath of World War II saw the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers. The two nations, once allies against Nazi Germany, became locked in an ideological and geopolitical rivalry known as the Cold War. The Cold War shaped international relations for decades, dividing the world into two opposing blocs. It also fueled numerous proxy wars and arms races as the two superpowers competed for influence and dominance. The war also led to the formation of the United Nations, an international organization dedicated to maintaining peace and security. The UN, founded in 1945, aimed to prevent future conflicts by promoting international cooperation and diplomacy. Section 10. The Enduring Legacy, World War II, and its impact on history. World War II left an indelible mark on human history. It was a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality, with far-reaching consequences that continue to shape the world today. The war led to the deaths of millions, reshaped the geopolitical map, and ushered in the atomic age. It also had a profound impact on technology, medicine, and culture. The lessons learned from World War II, particularly the horrors of genocide and the importance of international cooperation, continue to resonate today. The war serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance in the face of tyranny and oppression. The legacy of World War II is complex and multifaceted. It is a story of both immense suffering and remarkable courage, of unimaginable destruction and incredible resilience. It is a story that continues to fascinate, educate, and inspire generations long after the guns fell silent.